Welcome back. One of the things many of us have heard all our lives is that you've got to have a 4-year degree to land a good job. Well, here to tell us why that is not so is Peyton Holland. He's Executive Director of SkillsUSA. Welcome, Peyton. It's good to see you.
Yeah, thank you, Bill. Pleasure having me here.
That is the meme, isn't it? I mean, isn't that the game plan? You graduate, you go to college, and then you go on to great success. Yeah. It's not as easy as that, is it?
Not so much. We've really been telling that story for about 40 years now, and it's become so ingrained as a part of our culture. I remember when I was a student and wanted to take a masonry or a carpentry or horticulture class, the first thing that was brought back to me is, you know, if you take those classes, you're probably not going to have a chance at being valedictorian. And so everything we've done in our education system in the last several decades has been about academic attainment, but not necessarily academic attainment with a purpose and a direction. And as a result of that, we've seen a lot of our career and technical classes evaporate from the high schools. And folks are starting to realize that those are critical to our economy now. Students are graduating with an average of nearly $40,000 in debt for a 4-year university. We're going to have about 1.9 million students graduate with a 4-year degree in this country this year alone. Over half of them are going to end up working in a job that doesn't require that degree at all. So what that tells us is we've got a very different perspective about what we're telling our students they need to be successful in the workplace and the skill sets they actually do need to be successful in the workplace.
Yeah, there's a different reality out there that I don't think we're talking about. Well, tell me about SkillsUSA.
Yeah, at SkillsUSA, we're a nonprofit organization that really works as a partnership between students, teachers, and industry, working together to help those students develop not only the technical skills that are going to help them be successful in the workplace, but those personal and workplace skills that often get left on the back burner in classrooms these days. So we help bring all of those components together so that those students can be the future of America's workforce.
Well, you told a story, and I mean, I watched a video of you telling a story about your dad. My dad was a lot like this too. And maybe it was out of necessity or a curiosity, but you make the point your dad didn't go to a 4-year college, but what he was able to build and do was phenomenal with what I would call junk.
Yeah.
Would you mind just sharing a little bit of that? Because I think that gives everybody an idea that within us, we have the ability to do things go to college if you want to go to college. That's not what I'm saying.
Exactly.
But you don't need to.
Exactly. No, my father, he was a self-taught, self-made man. He grew up on a farm. He taught himself how to weld. He taught himself how engines work. And as a result of that, if he didn't have a tool around the house, he would figure out a way to build that tool. He didn't go out and buy it. If he was putting something together, he was one of those folks that didn't just say, well, I don't need the instructions, and have to shuffle through the papers to find the instructions 15 minutes later. He really didn't, because he wanted to understand how and why, whatever that was, worked the way it did. And that gave him the ability to create and innovate. He built his own turning lathe that can turn multiple bowls out of one blank of wood. He built his own house. He cut every nail, drove every board. He designed it. He's been able to do all of that with just a high school diploma. And I say just a high school diploma, but there's so much education that you can get throughout your life if you look at experiences. And I've worked with students all across this country, and got an interesting situation the other day where I was asked to, in a mock interview situation, to represent a scholarship committee. And so one of the first questions I asked is, why do you want to go to college in the first place? 9 out of 10 answers I would get would be for the experience. And so I would respond back, so you want me to give you X number of dollars so you can get an experience. There's no goal, no direction around what that experience is. And I think about that compared to the experiences that my dad got. And he was just hungry to learn every skill that he could. He sought out experiences that he knew would fill a need in his life, or give him the ability to do something later on that he might not have right now. And I think that's the general idea that we need to take into education. Education's learning how to do something that you didn't know how to do before. And when we can apply whatever that lesson is to making a living in a job that we love and a career that we're passionate about, that education is so much more valuable. Oh,
without question, it really is. For folks who might be watching this morning, you know, you've had this message drilled into you, you must do this. Mm-hmm. What are the opportunities out there if you don't do this?
Yeah, one of the most outstanding examples I can think of is I was out in Salt Lake City, Utah, and drove out to the Salt Flats, looking around, and a big Ford F-250 comes up, and a young man steps out of it. He didn't look like he was too far out of high school, and I said, well, what are you doing out this way? He said, I'm working in one of the mines. I said, what are you doing out there? He said, I'm a welder. Ask him how that was working out for him. He said, well, I'm bringing home over $100,000 a year. I'm going to do this for 4 years. I'm going to go back home. I'm going to go to business school and start my own business. You see, he had a plan. He used that technical education. A lot of folks don't see the connection between getting that technical background and what we consider success based off of the traditional standards of a 4-year degree. But that young man saw how that technical skill was going to build a life for him. So when you look at welding, you look at the construction trades. I have companies coming to me every day in SkillsUSA saying, Peyton, how can we find the workforce? Where do we get these students at? And what's happened, I tell each company that comes to us, is it's not the field of dreams mentality anymore. If you build it, they will come. That doesn't work because students don't know that these opportunities exist in these industries. And a lot of times folks have a misconception about the technical trades and skilled trades. You think about carpentry and construction, folks don't see technology in that. Drones are being used on a daily basis on construction sites to survey the land, to analyze the different stages of the building process. Technology is being integrated into everything that we're doing. So anyone that looks at a technical skill trade, or if you look under the hood of your car now, it pretty much takes a computer technician. An automotive service technician today is a specialized computer technician in order to be able to operate and correct whatever issue is wrong with that vehicle. So there's old perceptions of grease monkeys and dirty factories that aren't there anymore, and the perception of wage that comes with that. On average, 27% of the folks in skilled and technical trades are making more than the average bachelor's degree recipient right now.
This is a message that needs to get out more.
It is.
In fact, how can folks get a hold of you and learn more about SkillsUSA?
Yeah, well, there's actually a great opportunity. April 19th, we're going to be having 2,700 students from across the state competing in 130 different skilled and technical contests at the Greensboro Coliseum. So I'd love to invite everybody to come out and cheer on the champions at work and celebrate that skill. They can check out our website, skillsusanc.org, and just engage in your local classrooms. If you've got a student in a high school, if you've got a student in a middle school, when you go to do those open houses at those high schools, I want you to go by and check out the shop class that's around the corner that often gets breezed by. Go by and check out the automotive class. Go by and check out the drafting class or the digital cinema class. That is where students are learning the application of where education meets reality. We can learn math all day long, and we have a lot of students that struggle in math classes, but the minute they set foot in a carpentry class and they learn how to put the angles together to make the pitch of a roof, all of a sudden that education is real for them. So I encourage folks, just stop by your local high school, check in with your local SkillsUSA chapter, and see education at work.
So true, Peyton. Yeah. Thanks for being here, man.
Bill,
good to see you again.
Yeah, likewise.
Stick around, because when we come back, some career advice from a true pro.